Hey guys, this is Dr. Aeronautics. Today we're aboard a interesting train which came with the PRR version 2 download. I don't know what this vehicle is, but it's actually pretty interesting. This is known as the Santa Fe Express, and it doesn't look too impressive graphics wise on the outside, but oh my gosh, you know, if you scaled up the graphics so that this thing was actually looking a lot more realistic and streamlined, this is something unlike anything I think the USA has ever had. The closest thing would be the Bombardier jet train, but even so, it looks even more, it looks like people in the 50s thought trains in the 70s would look. And of course they didn't. There was that major industry downturn due to airlines and relatively cheap fuel. But this train is it's got a mix of cab from the Dash 9 and the Series 7000 LSE. I think it's pretty cool. It's even got its own unique character horn, which is pretty cool. And this thing sounds amazing. Anybody that's ever watched the movie E.T., this train sounds a lot like that ship did. I've actually never really driven this thing before, so I guess we'll take it out on the main line and test it out. I did move the train up from the bumpers just about 100 or so feet, and I only put the throttle up to about 15% for, I would say, about 5 seconds, and that's pretty much all it took to reach 15 miles an hour. Pretty cool. I'm assuming this is a type of gas turbine. You can see it's got some exhaust plumes right here. Kind of interesting though. I would like to know what powers this train, because it is really fast. Like I'm not exactly sure if a turbojet train can actually produce this kind of power, or if it's something a little more exotic. To my knowledge, this type of train doesn't exist. I don't think I'd be able to search on something as bland as Santa Fe Express, but I can do a little bit of research in the future. But, you know, this is a remarkable looking train. If I had to design a train, if it was my job to decide the livery and everything, I have to go red and blue. If I had my own train company, all of my trains would be bright red with a blue stripe. Let you know the train is passing. Interesting though, when I go to throttle 15, you see N6 or notch 6. That doesn't exactly make sense to me, but I'm wondering if maybe yeah, see, it says N2 and idle. I'm wondering if that's percentage, although we should still see about 15. That might also be a problem with OpenRails. My original plan was to take us down the Penn line, but last time I tried to do that for testing purposes, the train didn't switch tracks. So, not this train, another train. So we'll have to see what happens, but I'd like to go down the, or rather up the CSX Capitol sub into Baltimore. Maybe we'll go through the Howard Street Tunnel or end in like Bayview Yard or something. It's weird. This almost sounds electric because that kind of spooling sound that you hear where the pitch gets higher the faster you go, that's a characteristic of electric trains. That's the traction motors spinning at a higher and higher rate, and you're hearing the windings. But unless this thing has got some serious horsepower... I love the braking. That's some intense dynamic brake action. I didn't even use the train brake. That's impressive. And it's even got its own passenger view. That's incredible. I do approve of the menu. That's pretty cool. I don't know if you could hear all of that, but that sounded pretty cool to me. Oh, we're actually not clear of the switch. This train's got about as much power as a car in terms of power to weight ratio. So if you get the switch wrong, you know, take 10 seconds just to go a little bit further up and then stop once you get past the motor and reverse. Alright, let's see if we can get to the capital sub. So it looks like the switch is gone, but last time I tried this, when I would go back, we didn't actually go over to the next track. So let's see what happens this time. Weird. Apparently none of the switches are working. Alright, well then forget that. We're just going to go straight forward for the NEC. Then recognizing that this train will have absolutely no way to switch tracks. Let's see what 30% will do. Oh my gosh, this train is powerful. Wow, we're taking off at about the same speed a car accelerates and about as much as a subway train accelerates. That's pretty impressive. I'm curious, this train's got so much power, I have a feeling that we could probably reach the speed limit on the mainline Northeast Corridor. It's a pretty impressive train. I'm impressed with its handling capabilities so far. And yeah, we pretty much reached the speed limit of 80 right before it went up to 100. Although, yeah, it's 100. We'll go by the modern day speed limit so we can see if this train is really capable of 125. And given the rate that we're still accelerating, I'm going to say yes, it can do 125. Mind you, I'm still at 30% throttle. Coming into Maryland at 95 miles an hour. And set, match. Again, Santa Fe Express has reached the speed limit. You know what this sound kind of reminds me of? Is, oh, what's that aircraft from Flight Simulator? It sounds like the Learjet. Yeah, that sounds like the Learjet sound effects from FSX. So I want to see how fast this thing can stop at New Carrollton. Because obviously the train's really fast. So far the brakes have been showing that they're pretty impressive. But let's see what this thing can do when we get further up. I have to say, you know, aside from the simplistic model design on the exterior, you know, it's a beautiful train. And this thing is a real tank. Alright, let's see if we can stop. Wow, this thing has exceptional handling capabilities. That was only like the first notch of brake. And I'll try them out when we get up to the station to see how many notches this train does have. And then we should be able to stop and start a little bit faster. We'll try restarting with 30% and seeing if we can avoid some wheel slip in effort to try and make the train sound a little bit cooler. So let's go to the second notch right now. Yeah, we're going to need a little more than that. Do third notch. Fourth notch. Okay, so the braking's not quite as impressive as the acceleration, but it's still phenomenal. Not bad. So that's interesting. This train is using 12-hour time. So this is actually PM, but there's no indication as to whether or not this is AM or PM. So let's see. 119 frames in New Carrollton. That is extremely impressive. On the very first computer that I had, Microsoft Train Simulator, the frame rate was so bad, I'm talking under 1 FPS, that I actually had to activate the coupling view and have that go straight down. As for what that would look like, it looked a bit like that, and that's as much of the scenery as I could see before my computer decided to drop me down to half a frame per second, if not even worse. But that's a 2002 computer. Alright, let's get on the move. Wow. This thing moves. That is an impressive acceleration profile for a mainline train. But even so, we're still only at 30% throttle. And I'm glad to see we didn't incur wheel slip. So now I'm going to try to reach 125. If it can reach 125, then if we want to find this thing's top speed, we'll have to take it to Princeton, New Jersey, and then we're allowed to go up to 135. Guessing, given the percentage, that this train either has 7 or 8 notches of brake, and that being consistent with the throttle quadrant. Let's see, after 30 is 55%. Holy crap, this thing is fast. I don't even think the Acela Express accelerates this fast, even at 100% throttle above 100 miles an hour. We're still projected to reach 163 miles an hour within 1 minute. We're going to go right up to the speed limit. Good God, this thing is fast. Yeah, I don't know if Princeton, New Jersey can test this train. I'm trying to think and see if I have... Yes, I do. I have the LGV NED route, which has LGE lines with a top speed of 320 kilometers per hour or 200 miles per hour. If we have to take it there, we will. That'll be in a separate video. I am really impressed with how this thing moves. Scenery looks a little bit different. I don't know if that's just me going crazy or not, but the buoy station's still in the wrong place though. This is where it's located, as I always say. I hope they included Muirkirk. The Muirkirk station actually wasn't even on the Capital Sub, which is a problem. Wow, it looks so much faster from this way. Most trains, like the Acela Express, when you're doing 120 miles per hour, it's not that evident, but for whatever reason, this particular angle, yeah, it's extremely evident. You know, it looks like we're flying. This is crazy. Alright, I want to see if this thing can stop in 1 mile. So next time we get 1.0 miles from a signal, I'm going to put it up to like Mach 6 and see if we can stop within 1 mile at 125 miles an hour. If so, that might make this train among the highest performing trains in terms of raw accelerated power and speed. We're talking TGV territory. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do 9 notches. Let's see what that does. Wow. Dead stop from 125 miles an hour within a mile, and that's not emergency setting. Yeah, this is an extremely high performance train. Wow. And I think that's still, again, I'm using this thing. That's different than the train brake, or I don't know if it is or not, but they're two different buttons. All right, I want to see what starting with 55% power looks like. That smoke is incredible. I'm pretty sure that we're probably accelerating fast enough that whoever had their lemonade and fruit punch drinks there would probably get knocked to the side if they didn't have some sort of counterbalancing system. Okay, that's Odenton. I think this curve is actually 115. Well, going up and down between the speed limits with this train should be no problem. I love the way the horn sings too. Just, I don't know if it's a harmonic that I'm hearing in there, but it sounds aesthetically appealing. I think this is a 115. if this thing has fuel. There we go. 992.4 US gallons. And that's going down. Okay, so there is fuel on board. Curious to know if this is intended to be a tilting train. I have no way to know for sure. Hopefully I can look this up somewhere. Okay, now this curve is a 90. That is one annoying thing, is the release rate, although I think that's controlled by OpenRails. I would imagine it nice. Microsoft Train Simulator would be much faster. Limited, so I'll be making my way down to 45 miles an hour. Oh, that's nice. If I'm reading that right, that's going to tell us we have a cab speed of 60. That's something that I haven't seen before in either Microsoft Train Simulator or OpenRails or the PRR Beta for that matter. If we have signal speed introduction, that would work wonders for running timetables on Amtrak. Because you might have noticed some of my videos, I'm either way ahead or way behind on my timetable, and a lot of times the reason that is because it's incorrectly signed for 45 or even 35. I've seen a lot of 35s for some reason. That's not a speed the PR infrastructure uses. It's either limited 45, medium 30, or 20, or restricting, or I think it's 15 slow or something like that. But they also have cab speeds of 60 and 80 miles per hour for high-speed crossovers. So if we're now getting displayed 60s and 80s, that'll help save some time in unrealistic crossovers that we would have encountered before. So that's a limited clear. So that's telling us 45. Normally we'd get a flashing green, and that's the cab signal indication. Let's see what that drops to now. Oh yeah, welcome to the world of cab signaling. So I didn't catch this last time I tested this route out. This gives me serious merit to use this route now to perform my scheduled runs of the Northeast Corridor because of the proper cab signal indications. Now there's no more slowing down to 45 and me groaning about how slow we're going, or slowing down to even worse 30 miles an hour and complaining about it. And the speeds look really good coming into Baltimore. By good, I mean realistic. I'm going to guess, given the heavy emissions trains such as this, they're probably going to put some sort of restriction on the BMP tunnel because of its poor ventilation. Say something like, oh, only notch 1 in the tunnel. But honestly, notch 1 is just fine for keeping us going at 30 miles per hour. Unlabeled industry. Looks like the tunnel speed is unrealistic, though. I should be expecting a 30 coming up to the tunnel. And I've got a 40 just before that. Yeah, so see how this is the exact same indication? This is a limited clear. But this time we're not at cab speed, we're at limited speed. So this switches for 45 miles an hour, and that's typical of what you'd see coming into a major city. Otherwise, the main line tracks, they're set for 45, not 45. They're set for 60, 80, and I think there's a few switches that are getting installed now that are 100s. And before there was a terrain glitch here, so I'm going to be looking to make sure that we can actually see through this tunnel, and there's not we're not staring at the ground. All right, they fixed it. We got actually a tunnel this time. be me, but I could swear when we entered the tunnel, the engine noise just became a lot louder. Which of course would be very realistic. Excited and taking this train to its home base. I've downloaded a few new desert routes to try out, so it'd be nice to take this thing to Las Vegas or even Marias Pass. You know, rocketing up the Great Plains, the straightaways at like 100 miles an hour with this train. You know, being a Santa Fe train, it belongs in the West, so specifically the Southwest. So I think when we get some desert routes, this experience should get so much more interesting. And like I said, I have them installed. I just need time to actually make some nice videos again. And I've got some other stuff going on too. I want to get into airliner videos too. I had intended to do that, and I haven't done that in a while. But before that, I need to do the XR2 tutorial. We're probably going to cover autopilots and whatnot. And then at some point, I'm hoping to reboot the Norsden Land to NISO series. Don't worry, it's going to be a lot better and improved with a focus on Minecraft. Last time, I think the whole reason it got out of control for me was because I just tried to, wow, the scenery is a lot more realistic for Baltimore. Well, in modern day, that'd be Interstate 83. That's pretty cool. So yeah, plans are to keep Norsden Land to NISO what it was really destined to be from the beginning, which was solely a Minecraft series with Galactic Craft. So we'll try and make that as interesting as possible, because I know some of the earlier episodes, going back and watching them, they're just, oh my gosh, so boring. So we'll try and mix it up and keep things fun. I'll try and use some nice sound effects from the TGV Rousseau for a tour. We'll tour Norsden Land and all that, and then hopefully we'll get to make our first space station, and maybe even go to the moon. So that would be pretty exciting to accomplish. Wow, that's cool. They got an arrival time. Oh, not Raritan Valley. There's no Raritan Valley train here. Not south of New Jersey. Whoa. I just realized that chart, that's an airport base map chart. That is a chart that a pilot would use to taxi an aircraft to a runway. Is there a button to make this thing fly? Why do I have a taxiway chart, an airport taxiway and runway chart in my train? I can't read what that is. That's pretty impressive though. Well, thank you guys for joining me. I've discovered an amazing new train that I really haven't driven yet up until now. I will see you guys next time, and hopefully we will get this guy in the desert, or at the very least Colorado. I got a Rocky Mountain route too, so it'd be nice to drive this train up into the Rocky Mountain High. I think the Coors Light brewery is on that route too, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, anyway, we will end on this guy's weird face. I've been Dr. Aeronautics, and I will see you guys next time, where we're going to see this creepy guy's face in the desert. Bye-bye.